right, 4-time state champ in soccer. I mean, 5 or 6-time South State champ, something crazy like that. District champ in basketball, part of the historic Lady Crusader basketball team that went to the Final Four this year. Member of the campus ministry team, basically runs those retreats, right? And Beta Club president, and probably some other stuff I'm missing. Everybody, Gabby Falla is here.
What's up? And football manager.
And I knew I'd miss something.
That's all right. I love my football boys, so shout out to them.
Man, it's good to see you, Gabby. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, any better, and they'd put me away. So, yeah, tell me what it's like to be – I've been watching that Michael Jordan documentary and The Last Dance. It's so entertaining. That guy is seriously, had an obsession with winning. That's kind of you. I mean, what's it like to be a 4-time state champion?
I think there's so many different attributes that come with being a champion and learning how to grow into a winning phase. And I think people think that winning just comes easy, and it's a process, and just losing is also a process. I think you learn from both, and I've been blessed to be a part of a good team and have good coaches to be able to help me through those 4 titles. So that's been some of the things that I'll never forget about my high school experience.
Well, and you get to play with your sister too. I know you. That's special to you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite high school memories is just being able to play. I remember 2 years ago when we won the state championship, we both scored goals, and that was one of my favorite memories of my 10th grade year. So I think everyone should have the opportunity to play with a sibling if they have not, or just honestly go play outside with them, because those are also fun memories as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that it's really cool to have a sibling close in age, and I love my little sister, but we're too far apart to it wasn't either I was chilling or I was too much. But yeah, being able to play at that level, that's pretty special. That's pretty special.
It's cool because we're both very similar but very different. So we both kind of share the same interests, but she is better than me at some of the sports. But I learned from her and she learned from me. So it's kind of we're kind of like a good pair.
Well, and I have to say about your game, you're a leader in every sense of the word. Just reading your CV, you're a leader. And a lot of people, it doesn't matter what your 40 time is. Most people don't have the leadership skills you have. So, I mean, you have to know that, you don't win 4 state titles by accident, And it is cool to see you guys play, where I think that also gives your sister freedom, because then she doesn't have to think about as much of the X's and O's. She can just play, and, you're the midfield general holding it down. So now I got to get to this. Playing soccer, you going to continue your career?
Yes, I'm going to play at East Central Community College under Coach Ryan Joyner, and I'm really excited for that. So it's going to be a different process and kind of be a different atmosphere, and I'm aware of that. When you get to college, everyone always says they're high school is the best day of your life, and I think whenever you move on to the collegiate level, it becomes a job, but also it becomes, if it's fun for you and you enjoy the sport, then you can make it not where it's so much a job.
Well, I'm with a coach like Ryan. I think you're in good hands. If you can get as excited as you've been about fitness, about running,
for sure.
he's doing something right up there. So, yeah, I would say that it does start to see, you got it right though, because you're going into it knowing that it will feel like a job, and you're gonna try, because you already know that you're not gonna you're not going to resent the game. I mean, I when I went to I didn't know that. I didn't expect that at all. So it took me by surprise. So there's a lot to be said for you knowing going in that, it will kind of feel like a job, but it's still you can have a fun job.
Right. No, exactly. Like, and I think that's what's cool about it is, you kind of go in there and you set new goals and you meet new people and you say, these are the things that I want to accomplish while I'm here. And you don't let anyone or anything kind of stand in the way of that. And that's I'm also really excited to begin that new chapter of my life. And I think it's a good kind of send off from high school.
Oh, and the people that you play soccer with will be your best friends forever. It's the same with you understand with high school, but with college, because you're all having to level up and really go through, like, figure out what it takes to be successful at a higher level. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, I always hear that people talking about, like Joe Burrow going to the Bengals, going to the NFL, that the jump is huge. It may not be the NFL, but it is still a big jump. It's a different level. And
Right.
you guys are going to be I'm so excited for you. That's so awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm so excited.
That's great. Well, from one winter sport to another, you were part of the historical Lady Crusaders basketball team this year. Tell me like what that playoff run felt like. That had to be, electric.
Yeah, that was some of the best memories that I've ever made, I think, at Sacred Heart. I'm not a basketball player. I'm not Michael Jordan. That's just a disclaimer here. I I started playing basketball last year under Coach Vaughn, and I didn't really know that I wanted to play. And I was like, okay, this may be something that I can take on. Try to wage waver all this with soccer, and I enjoyed it. I loved getting the time to play and kind of learning the rules. That was my biggest thing is taking on the rules because I don't really know how to play, but I did. But last year was just, and I learned so much from just the different coaches and the different players. And I think, sometimes change is needed, and in certain aspects you learn how to win and you learn life lessons, and I think we got a lot of that last year, and it helped me grow as a person. And I don't think anyone expected us to win a district championship and then go on to play at the big house. I think when Coach O'Keefe came in, he was like, okay, we're just going to focus on winning the next couple games. And we were like, okay, like, we're ready for this. And then it was just like, boom, out of nowhere, we're like, head title on the newspaper says, Sacred Heart girls basketball is winning this district championship. And we're like, oh my goodness, And that was just really cool for me to watch because it was something that I was used to playing soccer, is winning. And we went from kind of like this total like comeback, which was super cool, in all of our years being at Sacred Heart, we've always been a soccer school. And that's what Coach O'Keefe told us. He was like, y'all have the opportunity to be a basketball school if you'll just take me in and just listen. And I think once the girls bought into it and bought into his ideas and his motives and what he really wanted out of us, everyone kind of just flipped this switch, like, okay, like, we're here to win and we're here to be a part of a program that's gonna win and play under the Matt O'Keefe. And so that was so cool to me because I didn't just see it in myself, who I didn't get to play a lot. I was on the bench, but I got to see a lot from the bench. And then I got to see my sister, who did get to play and was involved in these like big time games, kind of like come out of her shell and learn how to be like that clutch player. And even girls who like have played basketball all their life, like they learned that, like, hey, it takes a lot to win and it takes a lot to be a part of a winning program. And that was so cool to me.
Well, I think the key word you said, Coach O'Keefe told you we're going to just focus on winning the next couple games, and then you have all this attention. I noticed that with any time you see, we talked about The Last Dance. Anytime you see some documentary, some inside look at a successful team, it the common denominator is the coach is saying, okay, just focus on, the task at hand, or players. I'm just trying to get better. I mean, even like, you see like LeBron James or Steph Curry interviewed, that it's not, I mean, sometimes they might be a little, boastful, but for the most part, they understand that, it just takes consistency and normalizing success, which, man, that was really cool to watch. That was really cool cause yeah, you're right. We're a soccer school. We do well, but yeah, to then see that in basketball, that was so cool. And that's awesome that you got to be a part of that with your sister as well. Let's not let's not sleep on that fact. That's awesome.
That was, I think it's just kind of like made for a really good year. I know Mr. Casey Mercier came up to me after we won or no, it was after we lost in the Final Four. He was like, there's nothing that you should be upset about. Like, you've had like a great full entire senior year. And after like hearing that, it just made me look back and say, hey, like he's right. There's a lot of stuff that has gone on that is just super cool and that I'm super thankful for.
Yeah, that's great that you got to do that. Now, with your senior year, you're a member of the campus ministry team. Uh, Tell me a little bit about. I know you went to March for Life. Now, I'll give you some backstory. I thought that was mainly kids would take that trip to just get out of state, right? But then I've heard you talk about it, and honestly, I have to eat my words. Tell me, like, what did that trip mean to you?
Yeah, that trip is like, honestly, when I first went on it, I had to like convince my parents to go because not really convince them, but they weren't really bought into the whole idea of like 24 hours on a bus trip. Like they were like, this is not something that I think you want to do. And so I was like, okay, well, let me just try it out. And so I went and it was more than I expected. And I think everyone kind of they planned it out really well to where you do get to enjoy Washington and you do get to see um, the whole entire aspect of Washington. And that's something that I've never done. Like I've never been to Washington. And when we got there, we all like settled in. And then the second day, or you go on they have this like rally. So the Diocese of Arlington puts on this entire rally, and you see like hundreds and hundreds of just like Catholic, non-Catholic kids in this one big George Mason University, like their basketball arena, and everyone's kind of like packed in there. And they put on like a worship night, and they have confession and praise and worship adoration, and it's just kind of like a different scenery from what you see at school, and something that you've always learned about in your religion class, but you don't really get to put in action. And that was really cool for me because the next day you get to go on this march, and it's like there's so many different like emotions that work through you. I didn't really know what to expect or like what was my view or like um, how I felt about it, but it made you kind of form your own opinion and you talk to people and you see little girls there with their mom with signs that like, hey, I'm a victim of rape or like I'm pro-life because I think every person should have a voice and a life and that's just really cool. You see dads, you see just families as a whole. And I remember I'm working on the video from this past March for Life. And I keep going back. It's taking me a while because I find these really cool clips of just interviews from people of how this trip, like there's two girls that I interviewed and these two older women, and they're like, yeah, like this is my best friend. And we take this trip every year because we know so many people who this has affected. And that's like so cool to me. And there's also another clip where this dad is holding this girl and she's adopted and she's like this little girl, she's probably like 5, and she's like, yeah, like this is my dad. And he tells me the story to say like, this lady was going to abort her and how now they're or she's in their family, and like it's just so cool. There's so many different aspects of it. And this year we were in the front, so that was really cool. And we were on like EWTN, and everyone was like looking at us. So we had like our little Sacred Heart flag. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was. I think everyone, no matter like if you're just going there to get out of school, you get something out of it. It's kind of like it's going to be in your ear, whether you choose to listen to it or not, but you're going to go back. Like you have to listen to it because it's always going to be there. So I think that's a really cool experience. Some of the best memories are on that trip. And Dave Ware is like the superstar of that trip. We love him. Shout out to Dave Ware.
Dave Ware is Hattiesburg's Batman.
Oh no, for sure.
That guy fights crime at night, I'm telling you.
For sure.
Well, wow, that's man. Okay, yeah, I definitely had that trip wrong. Right? And that's what's great, about you being able to talk about it. It's like, man, you're educating me, you know. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Well,
What
hopefully I'll come with the video like soon so everyone can kind of like see, because we did have fun. Like we made a vlog and we got to go to the mall, and we got to stop at like some different historic sites. So that was like super cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's dropping. Check that out. That's dropping next week. I'm putting the pressure on you, Gabby. Next week.
We'll get it out there for sure.
Yeah, love it. Well, okay, so that's like, that's a couple days out of the year. What's it like to be on campus ministry team, on a regular day?
I think the campus ministry team is, it's an inviting place. I think there's so many different programs at school that just being involved in a lot of those programs, you see their different goals and what they mainly focus on. And I think campus ministry is one of those things that it's inviting to anyone who wants to be involved in it. And there's no like requirements for it. It's like, hey, I want to be a part of this faith, or like, I want to know more. And that's just really cool to me. That's what stuck out, is there's so many people who have different stories. And that's campus ministry was like, hey, if you want to be a part of a retreat team, if you want to help other people in their daily lives how to encounter Christ and how to come encounter with Christ, you need to be a part of this. And I've witnessed a lot of my classmates kind of step up in that role and share their faith and share their testimony. And those are some really cool things, because you're like, hey, these are my classmates and they're going through the same things that I'm going through, and that's just cool, because the younger classmen as well, they say, hey, they were in my position before. And I think it's kind of a learning experience from both places. Like campus ministry in general is, I'm not just learning about like my faith in the Lord and encountering him, but I'm learning from other people and how to better myself through those ways. And that's so cool.
Wow. That's remarkable, Gabby. So you guys do retreats. What you say you deal with underclassmen, like what age do you normally?
This year we did 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade retreat. So we kind of hit all the grades up until we were going to do an 11th grade and a senior retreat, or we were going to do a senior retreat, but it kind of got cut short. But we just had so much fun. those were some fun days. Like everybody was looking forward to like retreat days, because not just because you're out of school, but because we get to like play games. And musical chairs is always the best game, because you have to have the ambulance on speed dial because it gets a little rowdy. But it was fun.
Being out of school doesn't hurt.
No, it does not.
It doesn't hurt. Well, and that's good. I think that's what's really cool about Sacred Heart, is that you have that opportunity. You don't have that at other schools. You have a day where you can go and talk about your faith, and honestly, even if you're not Catholic, you're just learning how to deal. You're learning how to be your own person, and you're working on developing. We talk so much about test scores and grades as a society, but let's not. I mean, none of that matters if you're not, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy. Like all those other aspects of health are so important. So that's really cool that you get to be a part of it. And it sounds like you kind of running the thing a little bit, but That's good. Get the ambulance on on speed dial. That's great. Well, let's get down to the nitty gritty. The best part of your senior year, senior parties, graduation, prom, taken away by this insidious virus. I looked up insidious before this to use it. It's a bummer. It's not fair. It's affecting literally everyone in the world at the same time. How you holding up?
I like try to journal everything, like not every day. I'm not going to say that, but every couple days, just it's part of my like morning kind of like spiritual routine. And I think going back and looking from week 1 and week 2, and when all of this kind of like hit, I've really kind of like had a lot of time to think about myself and think about things in the future. And it's helped me realize, I've had a really big issue with like, I'm a worrier. I worry about everything under the sun into the future. And it's kind of taken me back and said, you can't control what happens in the future. And yes, it's hard. This is stuff that I've been looking forward to since I was a freshman and in 7th grade, like your senior skip day, passing of the light, wearing that free dress on passing of the light, there's like small little things is very like, they're just important. And I think the last day, what just really took me back is the last day that we were in school at Sacred Heart. We were all kind of overwhelmed with exams. Like it was our last day and we were ready for spring break. And I just remember that was the most stressful exam week that I think I've ever had in my life. Like I remember talking to some of my friends about it. It was just like piles and piles of work. And we were just like, okay, this is going to be a great day to go out. And sure enough, it was like, it was very, just a weird timing, but being able to communicate with them, I think we're all on the same level. We understand that this is nothing that we can control, but it's also cool because we can be a part of this and understand, that there are bigger things in this world. Like there are people that are dying from this, and there are people who are getting seriously ill from this, and whatever we can do to help will make everything better. And I know I have really old, not really old, whoops, but not like my grandparents are kind of old, so I don't want to I don't want to like get them sick, or so try to take precautions and do the best I can. And Coach Schrader has been making us do like journals about how our eating has gone, how our exercising has gone. And I think it changes kind of every week because you're like, okay, I ran this much this week, but I've kind of progressed, and that's cool because you get to see your progress, not just in your attitude, but in the way you're living your life each day and making a schedule. And honestly, like this is helping me get ready for college and learning time management. And that's just, that's something that I got blessed with out of all of this, which is cool.
Wow, Gabby. Wow. I know you're not supposed to be speechless when you're like, hosting a talk show of sorts, but wow. You're right. You are part of something. I'll say this. Your senior class is no offense to anyone else, is my favorite class, right? You got some real, not just the soccer boys, but especially soccer boys. Those guys, and, for me, I wanted to have a big soccer banquet going back to back. I wanted to tell each senior how I felt about them, that they, I'll ride or die with them forever, that they can call me anytime. I got you. And you saying that reinforces what I already knew and felt was, you're right. You're part of something. You can make it better. You think about your family members that, that could get sick. You're not thinking about necessarily what you're missing out on. You're thinking about what you're doing, and I think that's crucial. If you think about, you hear people say all the time, be positive. but you thinking about what can I do, not what don't I get to do. Man, that is rare in the human race, and it's so special to have that as a part of the Sacred Heart family. That's so cool. Well, what do you want to say to your senior classmates?
Well, I am making a slideshow for us, so that should be done by the end of the week. But I think just for them, they are like so special to me in general. They have like helped me and they've been there for me. And I'm not going to make this like a long out speech, but um, I think we're all very different in our own ways. And I think our differences are like, it's cool because we all kind of share the same things as well. Yes, um, we're part of like mock trial, we're part of cheer, we're part of football, we're part of basketball, we're part of soccer, but like we all have this like unique bond being one of the smallest grades. And I just, I just want to tell y'all that I love y'all and that I'll always be here. I'm going to be in Newton County. So if you want me to show you where that is, then just text me. Y'all have my phone number. But if y'all ever need anything, just let me know. And y'all know where my dad is. He'll probably be around there somewhere because he can't stay away from the school long enough. So, uh, but no, it's been some of the best years of my life. I've been here since pre-K, so um, that's just really a blessing for me. And I don't know where I would be in my life without Sacred Heart and without some of the people here. And I'm just proud of you guys for all you've accomplished, and I can't wait to see what you guys accomplish in the future.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it here first. Wow, Gabby, a remarkable person. So proud of you, and can't wait to see what you do. Whatever it is, it's gonna be great. And it'll start with the slideshow, and then the March for Life video, and then man, you're doing it all. So, man, couldn't be prouder to know you. So that's awesome. Thanks for sitting down with me. This was a blast. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much. This has been really fun, and uh, I hope it all goes well in the future. And
You're a star, Gabby Falla. You're a star. All right.
all right.